In Atlanta Season 1, Episode 7, we follow Al in an interview with a late-night TV show host. Al is in the hot seat for a tweet that he put out, which is seen as homophobic. This episode really fits well for today, as it covers the lunacy of Twitter, woke culture, and the way people try to police what everyone says, and how crazy this whole gender fluidity thing can be. The episode starts off with the host introducing Ern and a lady who has a doctorate in gender studies. The host reads the quote, and it starts off the conversation. The tweet Al put out was about Caitlyn Jenner, and it was in a derogatory way. They accuse him of being homophobic, but he won't back down. The doctorate lady begins to overanalyze the situation and states this is due to him being repressed sexually and a whole bunch of other things. She then takes out some quotes from his songs and begins to tell him about himself and his culture, which she has no clue about. She clearly misunderstands the quote as she says, "If I fuck with you, then you my nigga for life," obviously censoring the N-word part. She takes this as him meaning it in a homosexual way. And her lack of street slang doesn't help her understand that he means it in a normal platonic way, and that there's nothing sexual about it. But since he's dropping the F-bomb and saying it that way, her overly analytical, academic, old mind can only grasp it as sexual, and therefore he's repressing something, and it comes out here and there without him knowing it. If anything, this episode also takes jabs at academics and how they can overanalyze things sometimes to their detriment. Look at Ben Shapiro analyzing rap songs if you need real-world proof. The next big part of the episode is about a black boy who identifies as a 40-year-old white male. Yes, you heard that correctly. And again, before you say this is just comedy and Atlanta taking things to extreme, there is actually a white male who identifies as a Filipino. I think his name is Jadu. I have no idea what his real white man name is, but look it up and be amazed. The boy says that he's felt strange all his life, and he realized the reason was because he's actually a 40-year-old white male. He then goes on to talking about how he's a worker at some high-end job, though he doesn't work, and that he takes walks and does things that usually white males at the age of 40 would do. He's saving up his money to get a racial surgery, which the surgeon says is possible, but he'll look weird. This scene is meant to showcase how silly the whole transracial gender fluidity movement can be. Now, before you say I'm homophobic, just know, the cashier at the Safeway I go to is gay, and I asked him which aisle the Twinkies were on once. So clearly I'm not against gays. But on a real note, you can be whoever you want to be and you can identify as who you want to be. It's a free country, but there's a point where things can get out of hand. You may like a culture and things that they do, but to say I am of that race or to pretend that biology doesn't exist is a bit over the top. Again, homosexuality is quite natural and that's fine, and you have the power to change your sex, but that doesn't mean we should throw the whole biological facts out the door and say there's no difference between men and women, and that's that. I mean, look at how all of these trans athletes are dominating female games. Y'all gonna let girls play football now? Unless she looks like Brienne of Tarth, I doubt it'll bode well for her. Extremes can lead to harm, and to poke fun at that or point it out is not homophobic. But don't post these things on Twitter though, because Twitter doesn't understand the language known as reason and maturity. The episode ends with Al agreeing with the lady on one thing though, that whatever he may say, it's his freedom of speech, and right afterwards they interview the 40-year-old white male black kid. He shows hypocrisy, which is hilarious, but makes sense at the same time, when he denounces homosexuality and gay marriage as unnatural. Both the lady and Al call him crazy. He denounces other people identifying as something else, or saying that they're something else, while he's doing the same thing. But it still makes sense, since your average old conservative white male would hold those views. And he's just acting the part. This is what we call comedy gold. The other aspect of this episode are the commercials, which I'll analyze in another video because they're too damn good to overlook. Overall though, this episode looks at the lunacy of Twitter, social media, cancel culture, woke culture, transracial and identity swapping, and how it can get out of hand if we don't learn to have some control. Allow people to speak and not over-police them over everything. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content and analyses just like this. Be safe, loving, and prosperous. Peace.